Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Madinah, Arabic Book 2, lesson number 9. And in this lesson, the focus will be on mansub, the nouns that are mansub. We will deal with different ways or possibilities of the noun when it can be mansub. The sound plural of nouns for feminine takes kasra in mansub and majroor form. So when we talk about the noun when it is mansub, yani accusative case or objective case, we know that the objective case of the noun always comes with fatha. For example, we say in the subjective case, marfu', we know that the noun has three cases: marfu'un, mansubun, wa majrurun. Subjective case, objective case, and after the preposition. So when the noun is marfu', it comes with dhamma, as we say as-sama'u. And when it is mansub, we say as-sama'a. And when it is majroor, we say as-sama'i. And if it's a singular noun, we know that it takes like dhammatan, fathatan, and kasratan. For example, we say zaidun, zaidan, and zaidin. But when we talk about the sound plural of the feminine, that's very, very important, sound plural of the feminine, then in mansub and majroor, it takes kasra. Whenever we talk about the feminine sound plural, it takes kasra when it is mansub and majroor. For example, we say as-samawatu, as-samawati, as-samawati. So we can see over here that here, when it is mansub, it has kasra, and when it is majroor, it has kasra as well. Now the question is, how would we know if it is used as mansub or majroor? So of course, we know it is when we use it in a sentence, and from the context we will know whether we used it as mansub or majroor. For example, look at the example here. خلق الله السماوات والأرض. So now khalaqa, we know, is the verb, is the fi'l, and lafz al-jalala is the fa'il, the doer, and we have fi'l plus fa'il, and what we have after that is the object. And we can see here that the object is always mansub. Object is always mansub, but here it comes with kasra because it is the sound plural of sama. So, but when you look at ard, now we can see over here that ard has fatha on it. Why? Because we know this is object. So this is easy to figure out that it is object, but here sometimes kind of it becomes a little bit confusing. When we see kasra, we might be thinking that it is majroor, but no, both of them are object and both of them are mansub. Inna talibati fil hafilati. Now it's a very beautiful example over here. We know that ismu inna is always mansub, and here at-talibat is mansub. Ismu inna is always mansub. For example, inna allaha. So when we say inna allaha, it's very easy to figure out that we can see that the lafz al-jalala has fatha on it, but when we have the sound plural for the feminine, it takes kasra. Fil hafilati, and here it is majroor. And why it is majroor? Because here it has harf jar before it. So as I mentioned earlier, that from the context we will be able to know if the noun is mansub or it is majroor. So here it is majroor and here it is mansub, and in the objective or the accusative case. Here's something very important. You may not find it in most of the books sometimes. So I have brought it here, this point, because our target is to be able to understand the Quran. And in the Quran, you might come across an example like this, and then you might be thinking like, why here the mansub has come with fatha for the feminine plural. But the thing is, here we need to know that the broken plural of the feminine is treated as a regular singular noun. So we are talking about the broken plural, not about the sound plural. In the previous part of the lesson, we have discussed that the sound plural of the noun, which is jam'u salim will take kasra in both cases when it is mansoob and majroor. But the broken plural, ajam al-taksir, will not take kasra in both mansoob and majroor forms. In fact, we will deal it as a regular noun. For example, we have sautun and the plural is aswatun, qutun and the plural is aqwatun, both of them being used in the Quran. So we have aswatun when it is marfu, and when it is mansoob, it is aswatan, yani it takes fatha or fathatan, and then we have aswatin like a regular noun. And if we have al with it, so we will say al aswatu, and similarly we will say al aswata, and then we will say al aswata. So then this alif will be removed and it becomes regular ta over here, and al aswati will be the regular majroor form with one kasra, because when we have al, then we don't have tanween together. So now if you look at the example of the verse of the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا ترفعوا أصواتكم فوق صوت النبي. Now here, لا ترفعوا, we know that this is فعل النهي, and after فعل النهي the noun is always mansoob, and aswat is mansoob over here, and here it is mansoob with fatha, not with kasra. What's the reason behind that? The reason is it's the plural of the feminine, but it's the broken plural, it's not the sound plural. So this is a very important point, and inshallah I believe it's clear now. When we have learned, we have learned, in fact it should be not when, so we have learned that when that ra'aytuka means I saw you. Ra'aytuka, I saw you. And ra'aytuhu means I saw him. So here what do we see with the verb? We have the attached pronoun. What do we have with the verb? We have the attached pronoun ka, and here we have the attached pronoun hu. Similarly, it can be ra'aytuki, and it can be ra'aytuha, ra'aytuhum, ra'aytuhuma, ra'aytuhunna. All the 14 attached pronouns can come with the verb. But when we have ya al-mutakallim, when we attach ya al-mutakallim with a noun, then a small change takes place. And what's that change? Ra'aytani. So here, what happened over here? We can see that a small noon has been inserted. So when we use ya mutakallim as attached verb, or we use it with a verb as an attached pronoun, then what happens? A small noon is inserted. So this is called noonul wiqaya. What do we call it? Noonul wiqaya. That means noon of protection. So whenever you are using a verb, and with the verb you want to use ya al mutakallim, then we have to make sure that we have to insert a small noon. This noon will be read with kasra, because we know that ya al mutakallim has a demand or requirement that there should be kasra before it. So when you want to say you saw me, you will say ra'ayta plus ya al mutakallim, and then noon has to be added, so you say ra'aytani. Similarly, you want to say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created me, so you will say khalaqani Allahu. And ya al mutakallim, when we connect ya al mutakallim with Hamzatul istifham, we connect it with fatha. As we say subhana rabbi yal a'la, subhana rabbi yal azim, and similarly khalaqani Allahu, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created me. So now whenever we have ya al mutakallim with the verb, whether it is the past tense or the present tense, we have to insert a small noon. For example, darabani, sa'alani, ja'ani. So whenever you have like the verb and you want to use ya al mutakallim, yani me, you want to say me, then you have to add a small noon before that. Number 3, what about the ta'ajjub, exclamation, like we say in English? So how beautiful is the car, or how beautiful is the car, as we can see over here. So now here, if you see, we have exclamation over here, and what's the pattern that we need to use in Arabic language? The pattern is, you will say ma ajmala hadhihi sayyarata. So this is called fi'l ta'ajjub, verb of wonder or exclamation, and has the form of ma plus af'ala, ma af'ala. And after that, the noun will be mansoob. After that, the noun will be mansoob. Ma af'ala. And this ma is not ma of negation or ma of istifham. This is ma of ta'ajjub. So we call it ma at-ta'ajjubiyya. So the pattern is ma plus af'ala, and we can see that the attached pronoun who here is a nasb pronoun, or it is mansoob. We know that when it is mansoob, the ending will not change because it is a fixed damir. So if you want to say how good you are, you will say ma atiyaba ka. Atiyab, and after that we have to add ka, ma atiyaba ka. Similarly, you say how poor she is, so we will say ma afqaraha, how poor she is. And similarly, you say how numerous the stars are, ma aktharan nujuma. So now we can see that after this, the noun will be mansoob. We are discussing about what? Mansoobat. So in mansubat, this is another way or another position in the Arabic language when the noun will be mansoob. And similarly, you say ma ashala hada darsa, how easy or how easy this lesson is. So the pattern is ma af'ala, ma af'ala, and after that we have a noun, and the noun is mansoob. If we have a noun, the noun will be mansoob, and if we have the attached pronoun, the attached pronoun cannot be changed. And the example from this of the attached pronoun with the same expression, قتل الإنسان ما أكفره. So now we can see over here ma akfara, ma af'ala, the same pattern, and after that we have the attached pronoun. This attached pronoun is mansoob, but we can't change the ending because it is fixed noun. Damned is the man, how ungrateful he is. So now we can see here there we have exclamation or at-ta'ajjub. Number 4, we have learned in book 1 that the noun after ya takes only dhamma, but when the noun is singular, ya hamidu, ya bilalu, ya ustadu, ya waladu, the noun has to be single. But what after ya, if we have the noun which is used as mudaf, then it will be used as mansoob. So now if the noun after ya is mudaf, it is mansoob. So another form of mansoobat. So we say ya hamidu, but when you want to say the daughter of Hamid or the son of Hamid, or you want to say the brother of Hamid, so we will say Ya ibn Hamid, Ya ukhta Hamid. And we can see the examples over here. Ya binta Bilalin, O daughter of Bilal. So bint is mudaf and Bilal is mudaf ilay. And here it is mansoob. Why it is mansoob? Because of Ya. Ya ukhta Muhammadin, O sister of Muhammad. And the same pattern, we have the example in the Quran. Ya ukhta Haruna, O sister, yani the descendant of Harun or Aaron. So as you can see over here, Ya, and after that we have ukhta, and then Harun is majroor because it is mudaf ilayh, but we know that this is mamnu min as-sarf, so that's why it will not take kasra. Ya bana akhi, O son of my brother. Ya Rabb al-Kaaba, O Lord of the Kaaba. So after ya, mudaf is always mansoob. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Don't say Ya Rabbul Alameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Similarly, Ya Abdullah. So generally, the Arabs, you might have heard them saying Abdullah, Abdullah, ta'al huna, Abdullah. So you might have noticed that they say with fatha. And the reason why they say with fatha is they omit ya, but it is always there, so they omit it. So instead of saying Ya Abdullah, they simply say Abdullah. And in the next slide, you will see of the example of the same pattern from the Quran. And Ya Aba Bakrin, so here, O Abu Bakr, literally, O father of Bakr. So Ya Aba Bakrin. So now here we know that the noun Abu is marfu, Aba is mansoob, and Abi is majroor. So we can see here that here Aba is mansoob because the marfu form will be Abu and the Majroor form will be abi. In the Quranic du'as, like note over here, in the Quranic du'as, that's what I was mentioning in the previous part of the lesson. Uh, we say Rabbana, which is basically Ya Rabbana, where Ya is omitted. So this is the usloob of the Quran, as we can see here. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا. So there are, I believe, around 40 Rabbana in the Quran, 40 du'as that start with Rabbana, and all of them are Ya Rabbana. So Ya is mahdhuf, and this is the beauty of the Arabic language. And in the Quran, we will always find it as mansub. And the reason why it is mansub, because it is mudaf, mudaf ilayh. Rabba mudaf, and Na is mudaf ilayh. We have learned about the use of come in the previous part of the book. And we have seen that after come, in fact, we have learned in book number 1, yeah. So we have learned in book number 1 that after come, the noun is singular, the noun is nakira, and the noun is mansub. Singular, nakira, and mansub. For example, kam riyalan indaka. But if you want to say become, when we have harf jar before it, then there are two possibilities. You can say become riyalan, and you can also say become riyalin. The meaning will be the same, but the ending will change. And the reason of ending of changing the ending is here both possibilities are there, are permissible because of the preposition be. So we can say become riyalan and become riyalin. Both of them have the same meaning. Similarly, you can say fi kam yawman or fi kam yawmin. Both of them are possible. Then we move on to the next part, and we can see over here. We will talk about when we say, whenever we have the interrogative ma, we know ma has different types. For example, ma an al-istifhamiya, we say masmuka. Then we have ma an-nahiya, ma dhahabtu ila al-amali al-yawm, I didn't go to work today. And then we have seen today ma at-tajubiyya, using ma for exclamation. And now we have here another type of ma, which is ma istifhamiya, but there is a change that takes place over here. When the interrogative ma, that is ma istifhamiya, is preceded by a preposition, the alif of ma is dropped. For example, li plus ma becomes lima. So what happened? Alif has been dropped, and why it has been dropped? And because of the harf jar li, lima. For what? For why? Min plus ma. So again, the alif will be dropped. And you know that the rule of the tajweed, when we have noon sakin and after that we have mim, then we have to do idgham. So idgham, so it becomes mimma. And similarly, an plus ma becomes amma. And in the Quran we have amma yatasaalun. So as we can see over here, when ma al istifhamiya, ma of interrogation, very, very important. It has to be interrogative. Ma of interrogation or interrogative ma. When it comes with the preposition, then the alif is dropped. Another very important note, you may not find it in the handouts or in some of the books, but I have inshallah brought it here for you. When the relative ma, which is called ma mausula, is preceded by a preposition, then alif of ma is not dropped. So sometimes in the Quran you see that the alif is dropped, and sometimes the alif is not dropped. So when alif is dropped, that means this is ma of interrogation, ma istifhamiya. But when ma is alif is not dropped, that means this is a relative ma or ma mausula, which basically gives the meaning of like alladhi or allati, similar to that meaning. The difference between alladhi and allati is that alladhi is used for marifa noun, definite noun, and ma is used for nakira noun, for indefinite noun. That is the difference between these two, but they are used in the same context. Look at the example from the Quran. So we have min plus ma, and again after noon sakin, when we have mim, then it becomes the mushaddad. So we say mim, and you see the example from the Quran. الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. Now here the alif is not dropped. Why? We and spend out of what we have provided them. So here it is used as ma al mawsula and not ma al istifhamiya. Again, a very, very important point that you need to note down. Now, why I always start the lesson with the main points first? For two reasons. Number one, Arabic language has many points. It's the language, every language has many points, many ideas. So what we should do, one rule, one example, one rule, one example. So especially if we have the rule and the example from the Quran, that will be perfect. So if you do like this, so in every lesson you have like 5 new ideas and 5 new examples from the Quran. So that will help you to have your own like notes and your own handouts, and the record of the main points of the Arabic language, so you can always go back and you can refer to it. That's number one. And number two, before starting the lesson, if we have the idea of what we are going to learn, then inshallah it makes the lesson easier for us to understand. The next point here is we have already learned the relative pronoun alladhi and allati, and we know that alladhi is used for masculine singular and allati is used for feminine singular. Now if you want to make the plural, so the plural of alladhi is alladhina. It's used a lot in the Quran, and similarly the plural of allati is allati. For example, الرجل الذي خرج من مكتب المدير مدرس جديد. But when you say الرجال, so you will say الرجال الذين. So you can also say that this is the sifa of الرجال. So masuf sifa. So noun and adjective. It is also used as an adjective. So we know that noun and adjective are always equal in number, gender, capacity, and status, 4 properties of the noun. So when you have الرجال, then we have to use الذين. We have to use الذين. الرجال الذين خرجوا, and after الذي and الذين there is always a sentence. It can be a verbal sentence and a nominal sentence. If it's a verbal sentence, we have to use singular verb الذي and singular verb. But when we have الذين, then the verb has to be for the plural, because the verb follows the noun. If the noun is single, the verb is single, and if the noun is plural, the verb is plural. And then we have الطالبة التي جلست أمام المدرسة بنت المديرة and الطالبة. So after that we have used التي. And if we have الطالبات, so we will say الطالب اللاتي اللاتي جلسنا, and here we have التي جلست and we have اللاتي, and the plural is جلسنا أمام المدرسة بنات المديرة. So here we have learned that the plural of الذي is الذين and the plural of allati is allati. Number 8, we have learned that the particle Hamza turns a statement into a question. Hamzatul istifham, and the job of Hamzatul istifham is to turn a statement into a question. For example, we say anta talibun, you are a student. But if you want to say are you a student, you will say anta talibun, right? Okay, now what if the noun following al what if after Hamzatul istifham we have al, just to make it simple. If after Hamzatul istifham we have Hamzatul wasl, what do we call it? Hamzatul wasl. Okay, so what happens then if one Hamza is mutaharrik, the first Hamza is mutaharrik, and if the second Hamza is sakin, then what we have to do, we have to change it into mad, and then it becomes for example, when we inshallah learn the verbs in the present form, you say akulu, I eat, akulu. So over there you will see that there is a mad over there. Similarly here, the first Hamza is Hamzatul istifham, and after that Hamza is Hamzatul wasl. It has to be Hamzatul wasl, not Hamzatul qati'. For example, anta, this Hamza is Hamzatul qati'. Yani what does it mean? Yani we have to read it. So when you say so you have to say anta talibun, anta talibun. And in the Quran we have أنذرتهم أنذرتهم. So in both the Hamza has to be pronounced because in both uh, the Hamza is Hamzatul Qati'. So أنذرتهم. So here we have to recite the Hamza. But what if after Hamzatul Istifham we have Hamzatul Wasl? Then Hamzatul Wasl changes into a mad. It becomes Mad al Asli. So we will say Al Mudarrisu qala lak. And if you want to say, did the teacher say this to you? So we have another Hamza before it. And when we have Hamzatul Istifham, and then after that Al Mudarris, Hamza is Hamzatul Wasl. So now it will change into a mad. So now we will say Al Mudarrisu qala lak. Al Mudarrisu qala lak. Did the teacher tell you? Al Yawma Ra'itahu. Did you see him today? So here we have basically Hamzatul Istifham, and then the second Hamza, two will become into one, and then it becomes it becomes a, as we can see over here, Mad al Asli. However, as I explained earlier, if after Hamzatul Istifham we have any other letter, then it will not change. For example, هذا الطالب سألك, and simply you will say هذا الطالب سألك. Here we will not make any change, and I have given you the example over here as well. Now in the Quran we have Allahu adina lakum am ala Allahi yaftarun. So what is this basically? This is and then after that we have Allahu, and we know that the Hamza of Lafzul Jalala is Hamzatul Istifham. So now what happened? Hamza and Hamzatul Istifham have changed into a mad over here. So it becomes Allahu adina lakum am ala Allahi yaftarun. How would we know that this is Hamzatul Istifham? Look at the translation. Has Allah permitted you, or are you fabricating a lie against Allah? And then there is a question mark. So this is also a very, very important point over here. Number 9, this is something we have taken in book 1 as well, but just to, since we have it in the lesson. So here, if a word ends with Alif maksuura, and we know what Alif maksuura is. Alif maksuura is basically ya, but this ya is empty. It does not have any haraka on it. So we write it like this. So if a word ends with Alif maksuura and we need to connect it with attached pronoun, then it changes into Alif. It changes into regular Alif. For example, we have kawa plus hu. So now here we have Alif maksuura, and here we have the attached pronoun. So as a result, this Alif maksuura changes into a regular Alif, as we can see here. Kawahu, he ironed it. Similarly, we have manan, plus we have the attached pronoun ha. So it becomes ma'na ha. So here it changes into a regular Alif. And as we can see here, it means its meaning ma'na ha. Number 10, at-tullabul jududul khamsatu. The 5 new students. Here, the number is being used as an adjective. We have learned that the numbers from 3 to 2 are used as mudaf ilayhi, right? The numbers from 3 to 10 are used as mudaf ilayhi. However, it is also possible that we can use the numbers as adjectives. So if you want to say the 5 new students, here the number is used as an adjective, and so it comes after the ma'dud. Of course, we know that noun comes first and then we have the adjective. First mawsuf and then sifa. Here are some other examples. For example, al-kutubul arba'atu, the 4 books. Al-rijalul asharatu, the 10 men. And similarly, we have as-sihahu sittatu, the 6 authentic books of hadith, and al-akhawatul khamsu, the 5 sisters. Now here you can see we have ta marbuta, but here we don't have. All right, the reason is, you remember the rule? The rule for numbers from 3 to 10, the adad from 3 to 10 is opposite in gender. It's opposite in gender. What does that mean? If the original noun, for example, rajulun, if the original noun is masculine, then the number will be used for the feminine. For example, we will say thalathatu rijalin. And similarly, if the original noun is feminine, if the original noun is feminine, for example, you say imra'atun. So what we will do now, the number that will be used will be for the masculine. So we will say thalatha imra'atin or thalatha nisa'in, in fact. Thalatha nisa'in. So here, kutub, kitab, and the plural of kitab is kutub. So kitab is masculine, rajul is masculine, sahi is masculine. So that's why the number that is used is for the feminine. But if the noun itself is feminine, if the noun itself is feminine, for example, ukht, as we know, ukht is feminine. Now we can see that the number that is used for it as an adjective is masculine. And why it is used as masculine? Because we know the numbers from 3 to 10 are opposite in gender. And in the Quran, what do we have? As-sama'u sab'u or as-samawatu sab'u. And we have the same example in the Quran as well. Then we have number 11 over here. إلى المدير ذهبتم. Did you go to the... So this is our number 10 point, and here we have number 11. إلى المدير ذهبتم. This is a very, very common usloob or expression in the Arabic language, and especially in the Quran, that the jar majroor comes before the verb, or it comes before the noun. And the reason why it is brought, as we can see here, إلى المدير ذهبتم, here إلى المدير has been brought forward for the sake of emphasis. So whenever jar majroor comes ahead of the noun or ahead of the verb, that means it is used for the sake of emphasis. Note the following. For example, you say رأيت بلالا, I saw Bilal, without emphasis. But you say Bilalan ra'aytu, here it is more emphatic. It was Bilal that I saw. It was Bilal that I saw. So now you can see over here that it becomes more emphatic. And the same expression, if you see in the Quran, we have Lillahi ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. To Allah belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth. Yani, whatever is in the heavens and the earth belongs only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any shadow of doubt. So alhamdulillah, Quran clears all our doubts, and to understand that we need to learn the Arabic of the Quran so we know exactly and how it is used, and then after that we can appreciate the beauty of the Arabic language and appreciate of the beauty that is used, the beauty of the Arabic language that is used in the Quran, and then we will understand the real meaning of the Quran in the right context. Now, the translation really cannot justify it. But when you know that here lillahi is used in the beginning of the sentence for the purpose of emphasis, it gives you a different feeling, and you feel like you can relate yourself to the Quran and to the Arabic language. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.